Dave Cooper Live, we connect the industry leaders in the architectural, engineering, and construction space with the people, the products, and the processes to help them build it better. All right, today's conversation is about a problem every construction team knows well, but very few have truly solved. Knowing what is actually happening on the job site in real time with enough clarity to make better decisions before problems get expensive. Because construction usually does not fail from a lack of reports. It fails when the truth shows up way too late. Joining us today is Marco Herbst, founder and CEO of Evercam. Since 2013, Marco and his team have built a platform that goes far beyond construction cameras and time lapses, bringing together visual job site data in a way that helps teams track progress, improve safety, verify deliveries, and act with more confidence. That is the bigger idea here. This is not just about collecting footage. It is about turning visual data into something structured, searchable, and useful. Today, we'll talk about where reality capture is headed, what makes visual data actionable, and why the future may belong to the teams that can build a trusted layer of truth across the job site. But first, before we get into any or all of this, we need to give a few shout-out words to our supporting members. Brought to you by Greatech, developers of the complete light gauge steel and wood framing software for Revit StruxSoft. Off-site, modular, or prefabricated, StruxSoft Framer turns Revit into a powerful manufacturing tool, automating every step of the DFMA process from design to final delivery. StruxSoft doesn't just work with Revit, it transforms it. Jumpstart your designs at StruxSoftSolutions.com. Halleck Ltd. has a long history of innovation in cold form steel manufacturing and producing innovative precision roll forming technology for customers throughout the United States and the world. Check out their machine buyer's guide for off-site modular construction or fast build construction with light steel for framing. Go to their website, halleckltd.com. When the delivery can't fail, standard transportation isn't enough. Oversized, time-critical, high-risk, specialized transportation supports advanced projects nationwide. From data centers to the delivery and set of homes and offices. With more than 60 years of experience, we've transported over 60,000 projects, served more than 200 U.S. cities, and logged over 70 million miles. When failure isn't an option, choose the leader in specialized transportation. All right. Again, thank you to all of our supporting members and all of the supporting members that you see going across that ticker there below. And listen, if you want to be a guest on the Dave Cooper Live show, right there's that QR code. Take out your camera right now. Click on it and sign up, and you'll have a chance to come on the show and talk about all the things that you are doing out there to help us build it better, safer, more sustainable, and keeping everybody on track. All right. Without further ado, why don't we hop into the show? Let's bring Marco Herbst onto the show. Marco, how are you today, sir?
I am great, Dave. Thank you for that great introduction.
Well, I appreciate you being here today. I know you're a busy person and you're in the opposite time zone of us, right? It's dinner time there, beer and dinner time where you're at. But before we get into any of this conversation with Evercam, we ask all of our guests the same thing. Marco, we want to know everything about you from the moment you were born to this very moment in time. Do not leave out any of the good stuff from the hospital, or I'm going to have your team member Vinny come on the show. And we know he's listening back there. He's probably shaking in his boots at the moment, but hey, you only have a minute and a half to do us. Tell us who you are, where you come from, and then let's hop into the show.
Thank you. Yeah, Vinny knows all the secrets. We are long-term business partners. I'll get into that. I'm here in County Wicklow in Ireland, about an hour south of Dublin. It's known as the Garden of Ireland. Speaking to you from a converted horse stable with my dog by my side. So I'm a bit of a rural setting here for this kind of high-tech show. The long and the short of it is this is home for me. Started my business career with the Vinny that you mentioned. We were originally selling whiskey together, or promoting whiskey together when we were in college. Best job you could possibly have. We were getting well paid to basically drive around to the bars of the nation and introduce people to Irish whiskey. And talk a little bit about the history of also vis-a-vis bourbon whiskey and Scotch, hopefully leaving them with a good taste at the end of it. We did, around about the year 2000, we set up a jobs website to help other people find such good jobs. That company we worked for always had trouble staffing. It became the #1 jobs website in Ireland, and we had great fun doing that. Sold that company. We took a few years off, and then at a certain point, myself and Vinny decided it was around about time we should do some work again. And I was living in Berlin. I had actually been creating a time-lapse video for a friend of mine that was building this gardening project that I could see from my apartment. And I somewhat fell in love with the technology. I just found it really, really compelling what you could do with these IP cameras that were becoming available. Didn't think there was much in the garden monitoring business, so we pursued it a little bit. We looked at security. We looked at cameras as a communication tool. So I think that's a common factor about what I love about technology, and that brings myself and Vinny together, is technology as a communication tool in general, and cameras are fantastic for that. So we pursued that, and that led us into construction. It was in construction that we found the highest value problems to solve, the places where really serious mistakes and kind of misalignments could be resolved with better, more timely communications.
Yeah.
And that has led into Evercam, and now where we are with reality-driven intelligence, fully leveraging just some of the magic that's coming from AI.
Right.
So it feels like very kind of fortuitous timing to be doing what we're doing right now.
Well, I mean, with AI, with the construction industry taking data more seriously than it ever has, right? And I see that look on your face, right? It's like, oh, what's data? The rest of the world has been using it for business for years, but it seems like we've been lacking using it. So, without making this sound like a camera commercial, because it's not. This is really more about understanding the true cost of blind spots, like the thumbnail said, right? It's what you don't see is where it's costing people a lot of time, money, insurance, risk, all these different things. So, and that's one of the places I know you have taken Evercam to. It's not just about a camera, because anybody can go buy a good 4K camera. It's what do you do with the information that camera is capturing? So Evercam today, if you were to sit here and talk to, hey, I'm a CEO of one of the biggest development firms out there, Marco, what problem are you solving for me?
Yeah. You've covered so much of the kind of company story there, but to cut to the chase of what are we here to do? Ultimately, it's about delivering a project on time, on budget, and on spec. That's the definition of success. And well, Evercam speaks to all three. Right? You might just call it productivity, but projects are able to be delivered faster, safer, and to spec, with better communications between the teams. That's ultimately what we do, is this communications tool. The feedback loop was always hard in construction, and something I feel strongly about is that it's often said that construction is maybe slow to adopt technology, and I actually don't feel that. I think technology failed construction, and especially the quite fiddly stuff that we work with. So you're talking about like streaming high resolution video in a place where you don't have reliable power. Everything's moving very fast. Everything is changing. The physical environment that you're working with is changing. It's extremely tech unfriendly physical environment, and that's one of the things that has changed since, say, the 15 years ago when I first started working with cameras. Now we have the broadband. We kind of understand solar panels and lithium batteries, and then of course AI. These things have got better, but it all feeds into productivity. Do we have an accurate eye on the progress of the site? Are we able to look at safety and compliance? Are we able to reduce the amount of time wasted on disputes, just arguing about what actually happened?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of the truths. What truths are showing up that you weren't seeing before, right? And I think, why don't you walk us through some of the things that that you observe? I mean, you could probably go to every job site that's not using the technology that you have, and clearly just go, well, see that right there? That's causing a problem, because you truly don't know what's happening here and how it's coming. You may see the finished product, but you don't know all the little busy beavers and trucks and cars, right? There's all these different things. How does this information turn into data? And what do you see as probably one of the biggest things on a job site?
Yeah. What's fascinating actually is how effective the industry has been at the workarounds of not having good information. The work that has had to be done on the legal contracts. Construction is quite often quite combative, and on the reporting tools that are now available. But what we look for is those highest value problems. Where can we really move the needle financially for the contractors, for the owners, the unnecessary wastage. So you're thinking about rework there. The sooner you catch the problem, the better, ideally before it happens. The disputes themselves, it might be something as simple as deliveries. It's really straightforward technology these days to monitor a gate, right? Identify all of the materials, the vehicles coming and going. Is the truck empty? Is the truck full? Is it a concrete truck? How many? That gives you two things. Number one, there's a whole series of disputes with your subcontractors that just don't have to happen anymore. You actually end up having better working relationships. But also the deliveries of something like concrete and steel, the removal of something like soil is a fantastic progress tracking indicator. Like in very real terms, every project manager knows where he should be at the end of a week in terms of number of loads of soil removed. And having that reliable data point real time on your phone, it's an answer to the age-old question of, are we there yet? Are we on track? And cameras are very, very good at that now. It's reliable tech.
Yeah. And I think you guys take it a little bit further, right? Because when I think of a construction site, I mean, you're doing stadiums and huge projects and smaller projects as well. Does somebody have to actually sit there and say, all right, well, they charged me for 20 loads of sand, right? My project manager signed off on that, not really knowing. It goes to my estimating department to clarify the amount of loads. Does that estimator or that accounting department, before they write a check to that, sand delivery truck driver, can they search in a timely fashion, or do they got to sit there for hours going through footage?
Yeah,
How does it work?
You're speaking to the heart of the problem here. So, initially the systems that were out there, like at best, you might have been recording somebody at the gate writing down deliveries. Right? That sort of evolved to the sort of camera-based systems that we have more recently, where we're capturing images. There's a delivery, and there's the image verification of the event. That's sort of like phase 2. Right? But now what we're transitioning out of, again, this word driven, reality-driven intelligence, that the camera is actually able to push that information proactively through to the logistics system and deliver instead at the end of the week a report of what actually arrived, what was expected that didn't arrive, put it in meaningful terms. But we're just talking there about logistics. You said where else are the expensive events? So the concrete pour, that's very much something you don't want to do twice. Right? So you and there it's a slightly different problem. There, what we want to do is do we have everything correctly in place, correctly aligned before that happens? And that's they're $1 million mistakes. It's all very relatable. It's the same problem that one would have repairing your kitchen cupboard. It's just when you're doing it on the scale of some of the mega projects now, it's got 7 or 8 or 9 zeros behind it.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, even on a small project, it has zeros behind it, right? It's all relative depending on how big you are. It still hurts no matter what it is, right?
Yeah,
for sure. Some of the other things you mentioned was, the risk side of this, right? Safety, insurance. How are you helping on that front?
Yeah. So single source of truth. At least, we're all talking about exactly what happened. It's the ability to learn from project to project. Some of our most exciting stuff is what we call this mission critical, these high value projects where the owners and the contractors are working often very collaboratively because they're trying to learn as they go, find better ways of delivering these data centers, the pharmaceutical plants, the semiconductors, right? So doing it all around the world. The clients we're working with, again, the Shells, the Intels of the world, they're building on all continents, right, all at the same time. So they need to learn from project to project.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of it's interesting, right? So, I'm pulling up some of your website videos, and we don't really need to get into a product demo of how all this works. But again, when we look at safety and we look at risk, we're seeing fires, we're seeing accidents, and all of this. But can it also detect safety hazards? Let's say I have people coming to the job site and they're not wearing their hard helmets or their PPE, right? Now you say, okay, big deal. They ran up, forgot something. But if they get hurt, it's a big deal because it's millions of dollars worth of, possible lawsuits for a company. Walk me through the system. Can it flag, PPE issues? Can it flag people that shouldn't be on the site? How does it work?
Absolutely. So again, and that's the wonderful thing is this technology has really come of age. We spend a lot of time in technology talking about the future and talking about what's coming. Well, it really has arrived in a very meaningful way. So you mentioned their PPE compliance. I think that is standard now on a site. But more interesting is detecting, trying to predict where problems are likely to occur. So what are the patterns where we're going to see danger? Most project management systems have a sense of when hazardous activities are due and where they're due on a site. So it's interesting for a project manager to know if hazardous activities, that might be working at height, it might be kind of hot works, right, if they are detected in an area where they weren't planned. Right? That's a safety observation that needs to go straight through to the safety manager. Somebody needs to know about that. So it's kind of proactively getting ahead of the problem rather than waiting for it to happen and dealing with it then.
Yeah. So what does the data say on this? I mean, you guys have been around for quite some time now. You're working on some of the biggest projects around the world. When you are talking to owners and developers and insurance companies, what is it that you're telling them from a risk and money saving side of this?
Yeah, absolutely. So insurance is all over this.
Yeah.
And it is inevitable when you talk about risk. Ultimately, the money materializes at the desk of the insurance companies. So we're already working on projects where the insurance companies are effectively paying for the cost of the system, because they know two things. One is where a system like Evercam is in use, there will be fewer claims in the first place, like, less things go wrong, right? And we've got good empirical data around that. But also where things do go wrong, where claims are made, if you have the video of what actually happened, they will be handled cheaper and faster.
Yeah. And again, no finger pointing. I mean, it's documented.
The impact is that it's a lot more collaborative. There's a lot less time spent in the unnecessary arguments. We like to talk about dispute avoidance.
Right. Yeah. And so does the insurance companies. Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if you're, you know, and again, I keep going back to the owner developer side of this, what should, if I'm an owner developer, project manager, you know, that's watching this, what should I be asking my teams, you know, right now about our visibility or accountability? You know, what should we be watching more often? And how do they find that out from their teams on when you have 10,000 employees, like some of these big companies?
Yeah. So you touched on it a little bit in the introduction, that where this industry was 10 or 15 years ago, it might have been a what you call a time lapse, right? Often time lapse for the marketing team. What you got was at the end of a project, a beautiful memory of what happened, often for the owner, sometimes for the contractor. As that evolved, we had real-time cameras, so you could actually connect and see what was happening right now. Suddenly it became a management tool. It became something of much more interest to the contractors. Where is my project right now? Add live video to that, or a video recording, and you're into the events and the incidents. Again, it went up another level in terms of value. And then where we are today, add computer vision and AI, and it suddenly becomes this proactive tool across productivity and across safety and
Right.
real-time alerting. So the key thing is to realize, like, all these things are not equal. You need a premium camera system. And we also try to avoid the word camera because it has evolved so much more for us to be full suite reality capture. So drone is part of that, 360 is part of that, mobile phone is part of that. Basically anything that's bringing data off the construction site. The customer at the end of the day doesn't want to ask a question about which camera took the picture. You just don't think about that. You have questions about what has happened, and you want the answer. We're all familiar these days with Google Earth, and you just don't think about whether it was a satellite or an airplane or the streetcar. You just zoom in and see what you need to see.
So you're telling me that whether it's a fixed camera on site, whether it's somebody's cell phone, if they're tied into the Evercam platform, or I could take a drone out there as long as I'm tied into the wireless platform, and all of that information can be aggregated in one place, one position. So company phones taking video, taking photos, all gets aggregated into the system.
Absolutely. And we're the only company who's developed that full platform, all of those technologies from the ground up. And that gets really, really powerful, because these are also interesting at different points in the life cycle of the project. Yeah. It's often at the beginning where you've got big earthworks and sort of site preparation. The drone is the appropriate tool. Right? I want to know cubic meters of soil moved and so on. As you go through the structural build, there's a lot of activity, there's a lot of expensive equipment, there's a lot of people. Your full video recording is your tool of choice. And then as the shell is up and people sort of move towards the inside of the building and you're doing the final sort of MEP, fit out, etc., the 360 camera that we're familiar with now, that's often head mounted, or the robot dog, that's where you're getting those details, dealing with the subcontractors and snagging and the sort of final touches. So you want different technologies at different stages. You want it all under one roof. We're seeing a shift towards the owners getting interested in this. So them specifying a certain level of quality that they want in capture, and them making sure that they have access to that data during the project and at the end of the project, because it's typically them who will have multiple more of those identical projects being rolled out. So, great clients like UPS, for example, they build multiples of
Yeah.
what they're building all around America and elsewhere, and they're now actively learning from each project. I spent a very informative week with the team in Intel in Ohio, and our first really big project that we got, actually, one of the projects that sort of was a turning point for us, was the Intel plant in Ireland, in Leixlip. And it was a big surprise for me to see the guys in Ohio spending as much time looking at the Leixlip project as they were looking at their own project, because Leixlip was 2 years ahead. So they could see what was coming for them in very real sense, because effectively it's very similar problems.
So interesting, right? So it's not just about the capture of what's happening on site. It's about the ability to take that data and improve your processes, is what I'm hearing. So you can sit there and say, all right, well, this was a choke point. Look how, and I'm assuming that your AI and your data capture can kind of map out these choke points, things that aren't happening. A worker's having to walk 100 yards in one direction just to get the screws and the nails, right? All of this stuff can now actually be looked at in real time.
Absolutely. And it often is things as optimizations as simple as that. Evercam today is sitting on about 10,000 years worth of video of some of the largest, most complex projects on the planet, and the corresponding project schedules and the BIM models that go along with it. So each one is a phenomenal learning resource. Where did we start deviating from schedule? Where are there obvious savings? Where are things being double handled? Right. Where were there rework, and avoiding that second time around?
So, and I know we're getting close to the end here, but and I sit here and I think, all right, this is just so, when I look at 10,000, what'd you say, 10,000 years of footage or something? Yeah. Like, how do I take, a year-long project and get it to give me the information that I need? Can I talk to it? Like, do I say, hey, this is what I'm looking for? Or like, can I put in inputs and it will automatically search?
This is what is so extraordinary. The future has really arrived on that front. Right? You know it, we can talk to it because we've used Gemini, we've used ChatGPT and Claude in our day-to-day life. Right? So we've seen the power of these tools, and that's now available on the construction side. What does really matter, and is capturing that data in the first place and making that investment early on in the project and building it into the project budget. We're seeing now all of the top contractors, all of the big owners really aware of that investing in reality-driven intelligence from day one, so they have what they need when they need it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at, you got BAM on here, you got Wilmot, you got Shell, and then there's a whole list of others, and they're not using it because it's not producing, right? I mean, there's real data, real research that has gone behind why they're using your system in particular. And this is the interesting part to me. This isn't about cameras, right? I look, I got all kinds of cameras, and when you talk about streaming issues and being off on location, that's my world. I get it. That's hard, right? Streaming and bonding cellular services so you can get that data out there. I think which I find most interesting in what your cameras are doing is that critical job site data capture that can keep people safe, reduce costs on deliveries or people aren't stealing from you, incident reporting. But I think even more interesting, it's now allowing people to improve the process for the next project.
Finally moving the needle on construction productivity.
Right.
One way of thinking about this is we have these different sort of data silos or periods where we're dealing with the information around construction. So obviously the whole pre-planning stage, great companies like Autodesk, like Bentley, who lead with BIM type tools for planning what should happen, right, and getting that bit of the project right. Companies like Procore, like Aconex have done a fantastic job of digitizing the actual running of the project, the what's happening right now, effectively digitizing the paper system going online with the iPad, with the mobile phone. And then in any of these projects, the really important part, the money, the payments being released to subcontractors and so on. So they're the three kind of pre-existing IT areas. And the fourth one, the new big exploding one, is the reality capture. So what can we take from all of this sensor data, whether it's IoT or cameras and the structured data coming from the cameras, and how can they feed the other three? So how can the camera data inform better planning? How can the camera data inform better day-to-day project management? And how can the camera data feed directly into your ERP system that to approve, to verify payments through to subcontractors and streamline that side? And it's happening for all three, and it's happening now on some of the biggest construction sites around the world.
So it's all going to be vertically integrated. You don't need to, eventually you're not going to need to have three different systems. It's all being integrated into one.
Very much all integrated, and as we see it, reality driven.
Yeah.
So the primary source of truth is what actually happened. It means faster decision making, more accurate decision making, and all the leading projects are able to benefit from that now.
Yeah, all while reducing risk and understanding accountability and making better decisions with the visibility and the, like you said, the real time. Marco, is there anything that we didn't discuss that you feel is important? Did we miss anything? How easy is it to use? How about this? How easy is it to use this program and this software?
Yeah. Well, I would also say that's the nut that has been cracked in the 15 years that I've been at this. From back in the beginning, where there really wasn't the hardware,
right,
or the technology to solve the problem. So there was an awful lot of time spent turning it on and turning it off again. The hardware has evolved, the cost has come down, the quality is higher. So all of these things are relatively straightforward. Also, as a company, we're often serving the owners, often serving those global owners who just don't have boots on the ground in remote parts of the world. So part of what we do is just the white glove service. That was an expression I learned from our American customers, the concierge service. Just make it work.
It sounds to me like you become an extension of my team.
Absolutely.
Yeah, love it. Anything I missed?
Dave, thank you so much. We I could talk all day about this.
I know you could.
Some of the visuals are very interesting. Thank you for bringing up some of the videos there and a little bit of the website. There's a great demo on the site that can bring customers in and sort of see exactly what it looks like. It is changing every week. Like you said there's something along the lines of can you actually speak into it and get an answer? That's what we call our Ask AI product. So everything that's there in terms of take for example the deliveries, that is all queryable by text, by voice. It can push out it to your other systems. You can create a Power BI dashboard, chart there, people on site, time arrived, time left. It really, our limitation at the moment is only our imagination, and we need to rethink so many of our workflows now that this technology has arrived and is reliable.
Yeah, and I don't have to write anything. I can just ask it to show me what I need to see, and it's going to pull it up. I love this.
That is the world we live in today.
It is. Marco, thank you. Thank you so much for taking time and joining us. I know it's evening over there for you. So this conversation, reminds us that it's not about the cameras. It's about the truth. It's about accountability, visibility, and making better decisions before issues become expensive. So I really do appreciate you. Thank you. Don't go anywhere. I'll come back to you in just a moment, but I'll give you the final word. You look like you're going to say something.
Only to say thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Wishing you a great day.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, for the rest of you out there, hey, listen, it's Wednesday. You still got 2.5 days to keep building it better. And like I said before, if you're interested in being a guest on the Dave Cooper Live Show, make sure you join us right there by taking out your cell phone right now or screen capturing, or I don't know. If I had the Evercam program, I can say, hey, listen, take me to that QR code. It'd probably take me there. So I appreciate everybody joining us today. I hope you got some valuable insights on how AI cameras and tracking what's truly happening on your job sites can make a difference, not only for your team, but also for your wallet. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching. Bye now. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you. And as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.